We're going to be testing for common imbalances, common problem areas. So you were probably here because you came from the anterior pelvic tilt video. Like we talked about in that video, the anterior pelvic tilt is pretty common. I think the study showed over 75% of people. What we found is anterior pelvic tilt is not really a great indicator of if you have certain imbalances. So you might have certain imbalances with anterior pelvic tilt, or you might not. So it's better to go through each of these like we're about to do, or even better if you can go see a professional, a physical therapist, and they can work with you one-on-one. But these are a few tests here that are going to be great for you can do this at home, and you can really see if you have certain weaknesses in your core. We're going to target the core here, core strength, glute activation, and then of course a big common one, see if you have tight hip flexors or weak hip flexors here, okay? All right, so the first exercise we're going to do, first test, you can do this with me, is this is called hollowing. So let me briefly go over it before we try it. What we're going to do is breathe out, and then I want you to bring your navel and try to bring it back towards your spine. So you're going to be bringing your stomach, so you're going to be really relaxed as you breathe in. Then as you breathe out, retract your abs and your core and have your navel go as far back into your spine here. And the goal here is going to be to hold for 10 seconds. So you can do this standing up, or you can do it in a quadruped motion here, or position. So you have the stomach kind of relaxed down, and then as you breathe out, you retract, and you try to hold this position. You can breathe comfortably too, but hold that retracted position for 10 seconds. So let's go ahead and try it. You can do it standing up or in that quadruped. We're going to go here. Breathe in, breathe out, retract, and then hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, relax. That's the first test. If you had trouble holding that retraction, we're going to want to work on this and improve our core strength. Okay? The second test we have is, let's say you did that pretty well. Now we're going to see our plank progressions here, or our plank skills. So what you're going to do is we're going to start off with an elevated plank. I'll just briefly go over the technique, and then we'll go over the test. The technique is going to be, you're going on the forearms here. You're going to have your elbows stacked in line with your shoulders here. You want to make sure that you have your core intact. You're going to squeeze the glutes, and you're going to make sure that your hips don't dip down here, okay? And the first progression is we're going to start off with our knees slightly bent to make this as easy as possible for our strength, okay? And what we're going to do is hold this elevated plank, modified plank, for 30 seconds. So, Jonathan, I don't know if you can see a timer on there, and then we'll go for 30 seconds. Okay? So you can join me on this. Let's get in an elevated position, and go. Just holding here, breathe, relax, and controlled. Make sure not to dip the hips down. Find that alignment, and we're staying here. You want to stay nice and square. 20 seconds in, 10 seconds left. Okay, awesome. So we got 10 seconds left. Holding, and done. Okay, relax. So that was 30 seconds. That should be pretty simple for most of us. Now, if you had trouble with this, we're going to want to work on this core strength, okay? Now, if you're still good, we're going to go to the second phase of this. And this is where we're going to do the elevated plank, but this time legs straight out. So we're going to mimic the plank as much as possible. We're going to have the toes into the ground in a flex position. So we're going to relax just for a second, and we're going to go into this plank and go for another 30 seconds. So if you did well on that last one, go with me and join with me on this one, okay? So let's get into your position here. Make sure the butt is tight. Back is nice and straight. If anything, maybe a little bit higher. Okay, get in your position and go. Focus on your breathing, just very relaxed. Engage the core. Try to focus on your alignment here. You can tuck the chin slightly so that way your head's in nice alignment as well. And we're just holding here. Now what I want you to do is for this last little bit, is I want you to try to hold the opposites. Just lightly going back and forth while maintaining. Okay, relax. All right, so if you were able to do that, congratulations. You got decent core strength. Now what we're going to do is relax a little bit and move it to the floor. This is going to be the final phase. This is what we're going to be aiming for good core strength. And with this one, what we're going to do is about 15 seconds in, I'll have Jonathan tell me when. What we're going to do is work on moving the opposites. When we move the opposites with this plank here on the ground, I want you to try to keep everything square, okay, and stabilized. A great core workout here, and this is the ultimate level here, okay? So, Jonathan, if you want to get ready.
All right.
We're going to get into our position here, and again, I want to make a note, when you're lifting the opposites, make sure that your hips don't get out of alignment, okay? Keep everything square, okay? All right, Jonathan, if you want to count us down, get in your position and go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Make sure to keep those
11,
hips up.
12, 13, 14,
And now I want you to start moving those opposites.
17,
Just slow steps,
19, 20, 21,
moving the opposites back and forth,
23,
engaging that core.
25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30.
All right, relax. So if you're able to complete all that, you have decent core strength there. Not bad. I mean, a good core strength to start off with. Now, if you had trouble with some of those, we're going to want to work on getting that core strength maximized or optimized. All right, now we're going to move on to testing our glute strength and glute activation. The glutes are important that we're activating them and using them with our exercises, our workouts. It's the biggest muscle group we have, and from what I've seen, it's linked to a lot of different imbalances and also different pains as well if we don't have good glute strength or we're not activating them properly. So this simple test is just testing if we're activating or if our glutes are firing off. We can do this standing up or laying down. I found for me the best way is laying down on the stomach, but you can also do this standing up as well. So we're going to lay down in a prone position. We can have a pillow here if we need it, but what we're going to do is try to lift one leg by activating the right glute here, the right cheek, okay? So we should be able to feel it firing off here. So as you lift up, you should feel it contract and then relax. And relax. Now we're going to test the left. Same thing, up. It should be the same too. It should activate immediately. If you're not feeling that activation or it's delayed, we're going to want to work on this.
Does that mean it feels tight, like hard?
Yeah, it's contracting, so you're feeling it contract and squeeze. Okay, it's going to tighten up. Now, another thing I want to talk about is the mind-body connection. So a lot of times we'll be doing exercises with our glutes, and we're not really focusing on engaging the glutes. So what I want you to do with your exercises, and this is why this is a good drill to do even before your exercises, is to get your mind working with your body to really engage and fire those glutes. Okay, this next test is going to be a great one to see your glute strength. So we can see if they're activating. Now we're going to go into a glute bridge here. We're going to hold I'm using a dowel rod here basically. You can use a simple barbell or just a simple dowel rod here. We're going to get into a nice comfortable position here. We're going to place the rod across our waist here. What we're going to do is lift up by squeezing the glutes, okay? And we're going to create a straight line from our shoulder through our knees here, okay? And we're just going to hold the dowel rod in place here. Now first I want you to just check and see, make sure that your glutes are firing off here. They should, but make sure they're firing off. Now what we're going to do is lift one leg and hold here, okay? And what the dowel rod should be is staying in this same position. Now we're going to lower down, relax, and then we're going to lift up and perform on the opposite side. Okay? Now, if we have any imbalances here, or it's not activating properly, what we're going to see is the dowel rod move to one side. We're going to lose the strength there, okay? If we have this going on here, we know we have some imbalances that we're going to want to work on, or some glute strength we're going to want to work on. Now, this next test is we're just going to do our squat, and we're going to look and see what our knees do here. So what I want you to do is focus on these technique points here. Bring the hips down and back, and I want you to have your chest up, arms in front, shoulder width apart with the legs here, toes just in line in front or slightly turned out, and we're going to go down as far as you can, comfortably, so about 90 degrees is fine, and then back up. Now what I want you to do is look at your knees here. When you did that last squat, and when you're doing this one, go down, how are your knees traveling? Are they going in? If you see that your knees are starting to go in, this could be a sign of weak glutes here, causing them to cave in because you lack the strength and we're not activating it here. So if that happened with you, if you notice your knees are wanting to go in, what we're going to do is work on this by, when you're doing your squats, really focus on wrapping the inner thighs out so that way the knees can go in line with the toes. And you're going to want to focus on this whenever you're doing a squat exercise. And I'd recommend doing something like this, a squat exercise, every day just to get the repetition and work on that alignment there and activating the glutes properly. All right, now we're going to test to see if you have tight hip flexors. A lot of people spend hours seated throughout the day. You might be worried your hip flexors is too tight and it's causing you issues. So this is a great test for this. So this is called the Thomas. It's also been called the Kendall test as well. And I think what we're actually doing is a modified Thomas or the Kendall test. But not for sure, it's one of those two. So we're going to find a flat surface. The more sturdy, the better. But if you're at home, for me, all I have is this bed here. If you have a table that's nice and sturdy, that would be probably best. But you're going to want to find as firm of an area as possible. And what we're going to do is sit at the edge so that way we have at least about a few inches from our knees to the edge of the table or the bed here. So that way it can dangle here nice and good. We want it tall enough to where we can have a nice bend here and our feet can relax and lay down and stay relaxed here, okay? So what we're going to do is lay back and we're going to reach up, bring the knees up to our chest. We're just going to hold here. We don't want to hold too tight to our chest where we force around in our back, okay? But we're just going to hold here, and during this whole time, focus on not overarching the lower back here. We don't want to flex the lower back. We want to keep it in a neutral position. So make sure that it's in a neutral position the whole time. You're going to lower the leg down while holding the left knee in place here. Lower it down nice and slow, relax. And then the goal position here is to have the leg in line with the hip joint here or lower, okay? With a 90-degree bend in the leg from the knee to the ankle there, okay? So if you have this position, this means your quad's not too tight and your hip flexor is good too. It's not too tight as well. Now, if you did this and you found that when you lowered that you were stuck maybe here in this range, you weren't able to go completely flat, this could mean that you have tight quads, tight hip flexors, or both. So this is when you're going to get a partner. You're going to get like a family member, someone that can straighten your leg out and allow your leg to relax. At this point, if you can relax down to that position, that hip position or lower, now you know your hip flexors are good. They're good mobility, good flexibility there, but it's likely your quads there that were holding you back because we had this bend here and you needed more flexibility in your quads. So you're going to want to focus on getting more flexibility in the quads then, and your hip flexors are good. However, if you straighten the leg out and you notice you still have a restriction there, you're not able to hit that position, then this means that your hip flexor is a little too tight. We're going to want to focus on that as well. Now, from here we're going to want to switch and go to the opposite side as well and make sure that we can find that position. And again, make sure not to arch the lower back when doing this. Okay, so we hold here and we see that we can get a 90-degree bend and the leg is nice and straight in line with the hip or lower. All right, so that was the Thomas or Kendall test there. Now, if you've noticed that you have good flexibility with your hip flexor, yet you still feel tight maybe throughout the day and things like this, this could be a strength issue. And with all these tests that we did today, if you felt like maybe you're lacking some core strength or some flexibility or range of motion with the hip flexors or, strength with the glutes, then I highly recommend checking out our 5-Minute Flows program. This is going to be great if you're, cut short on time. These are 5-minute sessions that you can follow along. We focus on flexibility, great for beginners, great for something you can do very quickly, and work on that balance and that strength as well while developing flexibility. The other course I'd recommend is if you want to focus more on movement patterns, if you're focused on developing more strength with your body weight exercises, this is our Primal Movement 101. We focus on 7 primal movement patterns that are going to focus on developing mobility, flexibility, strength, functional strength, and also balancing those muscle groups. And then if you want, say, both of those programs, maybe you want to, because you can stack these on top of each other. If you want both of them, you can order them separately, or you can just try out our academy. So we have a 7-day trial, or you can pick it up for a 1-year membership if you want to get access to all of our programs. So make sure to check those out down below. You can go further with your training with us, and I look forward to seeing you inside the programs. If not, I'll see you inside the newsletter.